Kenny Cunningham's with us. Good morning to you, Kenny.
Morning, chaps. All right.
What is the motivation for this team to keep getting better? And how do you stop people from thinking about all of the records that they're capable of setting and that they could set, and just focus game to game?
Yeah, I don't think Klopp will have to work too hard, Jerry, to be honest with you, such as the kind of type of personality he has in the dressing room, and he's responsible for pulling that dressing room together. Just think mentally they're so strong. They're a mature group of players now. I actually don't think Klopp has to work that hard. They know what's in front of them, and they've certainly in the short term, in terms of league title and Champions League, I'd suggest as well, which hasn't got a huge amount of chit-chat of late, but more so than the Invincibles, this going the whole year unbeaten. For me, the focus very quickly now is going to switch towards the Champions League and actually defending that title, because they'll never get a better chance for me to go back-to-back this group of players, Champions League titles.
The progression over the last few weeks, Kenny, where they've just kicked on, it seems, to another level in how they're dominating games. Like, defensively, they haven't conceded a goal in their last 7 matches. Since Gomez and Van Dijk have come together, I think it's 1 goal conceded whenever they've started a game together. Like, Matip was seen as almost getting to Van Dijk's level earlier in the year. What is it about Gomez that has improved Liverpool defensively? Better
one-to-one defender, quicker, more athletic. Liverpool throw players forward and teams look to counter-attack. You always felt Lovren and Matip in opposition centre-forward, you get him 1v1 down the channels, you'd have a bit of joy. That's not the case with Gomez. He's as quick as Van Dijk, not quite as mature yet, but he'll get there. I'm just surprised it's taken them so long to put them back together again after the way they started last season, because they're the future. And they've got to stick together now. Forget about bringing Matip and Lovren in and playing for a few games here and there. Gomez needs consecutive games. He needs 20, 30, 40 consecutive games now under his belt, and he'll get better, and the partnership will get better. But I don't agree with you. It's just the two of them coming together. You'd be foolish in thinking that the position of Jordan Henderson in front of them hasn't played a huge part in terms of those clean sheets. I've said it before, it's no coincidence Fabinho going out of the team and Henderson being dropped into that defensive midfield position. For me, has been even more important than Joe Gomez coming in alongside Van Dijk. It's that axis, those 3 players, that axis of Gomez, Van Dijk, and most importantly, Henderson in front, who's been the most responsible in terms of those clean sheets over the past month to 6 weeks.
What's the difference between Henderson and Fabinho?
Better defender, simple. Better defender, quicker over the ground, sees danger, tracks runners. Just a better defensive midfielder than Fabinho. Fabinho, good player, good footballer, very comfortable on the ball, but he hasn't got Henderson's mobility. He doesn't sense danger, and he just doesn't give as good a screen in front of that Liverpool defensive too. I think that's pretty obvious for me. So it'd be interesting to see with Fabinho now fit how Klopp manages the team between now and the end of the season. Clearly they'll both play. Fabinho come in, he's a good player of course, but for me when those big games come around, particularly the Champions League games, no big games now in the league, between now and the end of the season, the league's done to a certain extent, but for me these big Champions League games now coming down the road, Atletico Madrid at the first one of those, has to stick with this that axis of Henderson, Gomez and Van Dijk, because those 3 there guarantee clean sheets. If you can guarantee yourself clean sheets going into knockout stages of the Champions League, yeah, there's a fair chance you're going to go and win that competition.
He was obviously a big fan of Fabinho and also of what Jordan Henderson could do sort of on the right of that midfield 3. From what you've seen of Klopp, do you think he is, smart enough isn't the right term, but do you think he looks at what he's seen over the past 2 months with Henderson in that deep role and actually realise, you know what, we're a lot more solid with him there than Fabinho, and as much as I spent and invested a lot of time in Fabinho over the last 18 months, I've just got to stick with this now?
I'm not sure he will, because I know he's a big fan of Fabinho, and I can understand why. He's got some very good qualities, like I've mentioned, but the second qualities I'd be looking for in that position, in that Liverpool team, going into this stage of the season with what's at stake, and particularly in terms of the Champions League, like I've said, for me it's always Henderson that area of the pitch. He has the luxury of the fact that Henderson's so versatile that he can play Fabinho there. Fabinho can only play in the anchor midfield and midfield in that Liverpool 3. He can't play in any other position. Henderson can, and that's the luxury you have with Henderson. If Fabinho sitting Henderson and another in that midfield 3, he can get box to box Jordan. He can make a contribution going forward in the final third of the pitch. But that might become a little bit more difficult because of the kind of growing maturity of Oxlade-Chamberlain. Oxlade-Chamberlain for me now is very close to becoming an automatic starter in that Liverpool midfield three. And if that's the case, it becomes a little more difficult then to kind of get Henderson into that advanced midfield position when you got the Wijnaldum there, obviously, as well, who seems to be a firm favourite at Klopp. Again, I understand why they're all good players. So it's a great conundrum for Klopp to have. But for me, it's an easy solution. If I'm a Liverpool supporter, if I'm a Liverpool player, I'm a Liverpool centre-half. I'm not comparing myself to any of those Liverpool centre-halves. The one player I want to see in front of me, 10 yards in front of me for the majority of that game, is Jordan Henderson, because he's the one I trust in terms of the defensive aspect of his game.
Oxlade-Chamberlain was brilliant yesterday in that spell after half-time, and I was surprised in a way they took him off. Now maybe they're still managing him as he's getting back to definite 100% full fitness.
That's a good point.
But
I was surprised.
When Lallana came on, and generally Lallana's done well, but he struggled to get up to the pace of the game. But just on that 10-minute spell, like I spoke about it earlier, I went home to watch it back. Like Manchester United, Kenny, not one of their players touched the ball in the Liverpool half for the first 10 minutes of the second half. Not one of them. Like, I can't imagine that's ever happened to Manchester United before, never mind any other team in the Premier League. Like, what Liverpool did there and how high they pressed and just sort of suffocated Manchester United, is that everything that Jurgen Klopp wants from his team? Well,
yeah, we've seen that consistently. Probably haven't seen it consistently actually maybe this season, first kind of 4 or 5 months of this season. I think we've said it a couple of times, as well as Liverpool have played in terms of results. For me, they haven't hit optimal performance, and I always felt if they could tap into that second half of the season, then they're just going to go further away from the teams chase them, and actually would put them in a great position to go and win the Champions League. I think we've just seen the signs of that from Christmas into the new year. I wouldn't say they've found another gear, but the performance levels, certainly for periods during the game, haven't been far off that. And we saw a bit of that yesterday for a period there during the first half, and certainly the opening period of the second half. Yeah, they absolutely blitzed United. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the deficiencies of Manchester United. I don't think any team, Manchester City can't live with Liverpool when they play at that pace. You know, that kind of physicality which they showed, you know, get around to the tackles that they make, the tenacity. It's one of the problems that actually Manchester City have had this year. One of their big falls is in terms of how they retrieve the football. They just haven't been getting around the pitch collectively as a unit, haven't been as tenacious in winning back possession of the football as they have done previously under Guardiola. That's the big drop-off from them this year. Liverpool don't suffer with that, certainly not. The manager doesn't accept it, the players don't accept it of each other either. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. There was periods yesterday, they absolutely... Manchester United couldn't live with them, but I give Manchester United credit for staying in the game. They hung on their coattails, they dug deep, they got themselves back into the game, you know, and possibly maybe could have forced an equaliser. Probably wouldn't deserve the Liverpool, clearly the better team, but I give Manchester United a little bit of credit for showing a little bit of character yesterday in terms of staying in the game.
Kenny, just how good are this Liverpool team historically in terms of the context, the numbers that we're seeing them rack up are up there with any team that we've ever seen. In your view, just how good are they?
I think so, yeah. I don't get too caught up in they're the best, no, they're the best, no, they're the best. It's kind of an argument, George, you know, it goes around in circles somewhat, you know, different, you know, trying to compare them with a team that played 20 to 30 years ago. It's a different time, so don't waste too much time on that. But I certainly grouped them together with some of those great Liverpool teams that have been mentioned. Some people say they've got to put the trophies on the table. I suppose fair enough. But in terms of the individual quality on the pitch, collectively, how they're playing, as a team, and just in terms of you know where just there's no weakness there. Like, it's the beauty of how Klopp plays. It's the type of football I actually enjoy watching. It's more of a direct style of football. They don't hang around and get the ball back to front, to get the ball up there early. They go in behind. They run team down the channels. They turn opposition defences. They put a huge amount of crosses into the box fast of the game, which you don't see a huge amount in the modern game. A lot of coaches encouraging players to come on the inside and playing a lot of combinations in that middle third of the pitch. Liverpool don't. They get into wide areas, they put the ball in the box, they commit players into the box. So I think it's great to watch. It's exhilarating football for me, and as well as the way they hunt the ball as well in terms of the attitudes, the work ethic. So, yeah, they're a wonderful team to watch. They play a brand of football which really excites me, not necessarily the possession-based football which we're used to seeing, and to be honest with you, can bore me sometimes over a period of time. And yeah, good luck to them. It's all ahead of them, not just this year, but for the next 2-3 years. This core group of players is going to stick together, and they're going to get better because of the maturity of a number of the players. Gomez, Alexander-Arnold, Oxlade-Chamberlain. These players are only going to get better and better.
I'm interested in your thoughts on United defensively, and particularly Wan-Bissaka, who has been seen as one of the success stories for them, But like his head was spinning in that spell after half-time yesterday as they attacked down that left-hand side, Liverpool. Where's he in your thoughts in terms of a right back and his defensive, how defensively minded he is? Like, is he a Trent Alexander-Arnold where we should judge him more on his attacking output, or do you think he's a better defender?
He's a better defender for me, better one-to-one defender. It's actually what's impressed me about him this season in terms of his one-to-one defender. His recovery is absolutely phenomenal. He's actually somebody who looks like he actually enjoys his defending and kind of enjoys the kind of battle 1v1 against someone. I read a couple of comments from him to that effect, and you can see that. And you're right, he had a difficult time immediately after half-time, but I cut him a little bit of slack there. He found it difficult. Robertson was getting himself forward. Mane was holding him a wider position. They were getting a few little overloads. Liverpool, he was getting a little bit isolated. You can have those moments in games, little periods where your head is spinning a little, and that was the case. But generally speaking, I've been hugely impressed with how he's defended for the majority of the season. The only player really I'd say who's got the best of Raheem Sterling in a 1v1 situation during the course of a game, and not too many, if any, have done that over the past kind of 12 to 18 months. I think the forward area of his game, Nathan, you mentioned, is the area he has to improve in terms of quality of the ball, his final ball into the box, maybe some of his combination play. I think that can improve, but I'm actually a huge fan of the outflow. I think he's done fantastically well coming from where he has to Manchester United. Big expectations, a young lad. He's come a long way in a very short period of time, so I have no reservations about him whatsoever.
Right. There's a debate about the future of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the fact that there's a growing belief that we've seen everything we're going to see from Solskjaer in terms of what his style of play, his philosophy, the progress that he's actually making with the group, and where that's going to take Manchester United. And then there's the other side of things which says give him a bit more time, let him have another transfer window, let him get some players in midfield in. The defence is okay, the strikers are going to be okay if Rashford comes back fit and is as good as he was and gets better. What's your view on where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is and how much time he deserves?
Yeah, I wouldn't be overly critical of him. I don't quite understand in terms. I know you mentioned there, Jared, saying we've seen his philosophy, his style of play. I'm not exactly sure what that means, to be honest with you. I actually think he's, in terms of the players which he's had available to him during that period, I think he's actually set them up reasonably well in terms of the tactical setup. He realises their limitations. You've alluded to it there. Lack of creativity, ball players in central midfield. So when you have a lack of those players in central midfield, you really can only play a certain way. You can only play more of a direct style of football or a counter-attacking game of football. You just haven't got the players to kind of dominate the game and play a possession-based game. So I've no problem with that. People are pointing to the fact, oh man, United are going back to front and they're playing on the back foot. United aren't a counter-attacking team. Well, I've no problem in terms of how he's actually been setting the team up. Even some of the criticism, like not going out and buying the centre forward, is ridiculous. I heard it on the telly yesterday. A couple of people in the studio, whoever in particular, it's a joke. Lukaku was left the club, and now Alexis Sanchez. Well, the argument of Alexis Sanchez is absolutely ridiculous. Like, he never played there. He shouldn't even been brought there to begin with. Like, he wasn't needed. But I think Solskjaer made a very good comment about the Manchester United centre forwards. I think he deserves credit for when Lukaku went and he didn't replace him. And he said, I have three centre forwards: Marcus Rashford and Martial and Greenwood. And he said, I need to leave a pathway for Greenwood to come in and get minutes under his belt, because I think he's going to be a top class player. And that's exactly what's happened. He had gone and spent stupid money on the centre forward and brought another Alexis Sanchez into the football club. Greenwood would not have got those minutes this season. It would have stunted his development. So I think that argument's a weak one against Solskjaer in terms he hasn't gone and bought a centre forward. I think they have got three centre forwards. I think Martial's the most natural one there. You might argue, is he good enough? Is Rashford good enough to play? He's a left winger. But in the modern game, lads, you can't. It's very difficult to pigeonhole players in any position of the pitch. You can play. A lot of players now can play anywhere across the front three. You look at Liverpool front three; they can chop and change. They can play anywhere across the front line. Sterling at Manchester City can play left wing, centre forward. Rashford's another one of them. Martial's another one of them. It's not a case of Manchester United don't have 3-4 centre forwards. You need 4 centre forwards. You don't need 4 centre forwards in the modern game when you're playing a front three. What you need is forward players with versatility who can operate positions on the flanks and also as a number 9. That's the key. That's what you need when you're bringing players into the football club. Not a clunky centre forward who can only play as a 9, and that's it. Can't operate in any other area of the pitch. So I have a little bit of sympathy for Solskjaer. That said, is it the answer long term? I'm not so sure. For me, the biggest issue is who's available. And
Pochettino.
What managers are available, and I think the likes of Pochettino and a number of others give Ed Woodward the nod that they're willing to take that job. I think Solskjaer's got to come under increasing pressure. I think the Manchester United support base hold the absolute key. I think if Woodward gets a sense that they've turned against Solskjaer between now and the end of the season, no bums on seats at Old Trafford, I think that will embolden Woodward to make the decision in the summer to move him on. I think that's a far more difficult decision for Woodward to make. I don't think he's got the kahunas, for want of a better word, to do it if that Manchester United support base is still behind Solskjaer at the end of the season.
I don't know. Talking to United supporters yesterday, I think they're so beaten down, worn down, downtrodden at this stage from how bad it's been. They're coming out of Anfield thinking, you know what, 2-0.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot worse.